Imagine this: you walk into a grand five-star hotel lobby filled with the clinking of glasses, polished marble floors shining under golden chandeliers, and a reception desk where the staff are dressed in perfect uniforms with polite but distant smiles. Now picture this: a man walks in, simple in his attire, quiet in his steps, carrying himself with dignity yet speaking little English. The receptionist glances up and frowns, assuming he's just another ordinary guest, maybe even out of place in such a lavish space. What no one knew was that this man was a sheikh, a billionaire Arab businessman who owned properties across continents, yet here, in this very moment, not a single soul understood him. He tried to explain himself at the desk, his voice low but calm, his Arabic words flowing with patience. The staff, however, only exchanged puzzled looks. Some even suppressed a laugh. One young receptionist whispered to another, "He must be lost." Another added, "Or maybe he can't afford this place." They didn't mean to be cruel, but their assumptions were sharp enough to wound. The sheikh, used to respect and reverence back home, stood silently, his heart aching not for himself, but for how quickly people judged a man by his appearance and language. Minutes stretched uncomfortably. Guests in the lobby glanced over, curious but indifferent. The sheikh remained patient, though deep inside, he felt the sting of loneliness. For a moment, he remembered his late mother's words, "Son, wealth can buy you a bed, but not peaceful sleep. It can buy you company, but not true care." Just then, a woman entered the lobby pushing a trolley filled with cleaning supplies. She was middle-aged, her uniform simple, her face tired but kind. She noticed the scene, the confusion at the desk, and the man standing quietly with sorrow in his eyes. Without hesitation, she walked over, her voice gentle. "Sir, would you like some tea? You look like you've had a long journey." The sheikh's eyes softened. Someone had finally spoken to him, not with suspicion, not with dismissal, but with kindness. He nodded gratefully, though still unable to express his words in English. The cleaner, sensing his struggle, smiled warmly and gestured with her hands, as if to say, "Don't worry, I understand." She disappeared into the staff area and returned with a small glass of tea, simple, fragrant, steaming. The sheikh took it in his hands, the warmth spreading through him not just from the drink but from her act of humanity. For the first time since he entered, he felt seen. Moments later, a young Arab man, a trainee in the hotel who had just arrived for his shift, recognized the sheikh. His eyes widened. "Your Highness," he exclaimed in Arabic, rushing forward with respect. The reception staff froze, their faces draining of color as the truth sank in. The man they had ignored, misunderstood, even silently mocked, was not just a guest, he was the owner of several luxury chains, a sheikh with more power and wealth than anyone in that building could imagine. The receptionists stumbled over apologies, their voices trembling. But the sheikh raised a hand, silencing them. He turned instead to the cleaner, who stood quietly with her trolley, unsure if she had overstepped. He smiled and spoke to the trainee, "Tell them, this woman offered me tea when no one else offered me understanding. To me, she is greater than all of them." Tears welled up in the cleaner's eyes. She had lived her whole life serving others, often invisible in the glittering hotels where she worked. Yet in that moment, she felt like her small act of kindness had touched the heart of someone beyond her world. The sheikh later ensured she received a reward far greater than she ever dreamed, her children's education funded, her family lifted out of poverty. But more than the material gift, what stayed with her was his heartfelt gratitude. And what stayed with him was the reminder that humanity is not measured in status, wealth, or appearance, but in simple acts of compassion. So the next time you see someone struggling, whether they speak your language or not, whether they look rich or poor, remember this story. A billionaire sheikh was ignored by those who thought they knew better, but it was a humble cleaner, armed with nothing but kindness, who touched his heart. If this story moved you, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. Because together, we can spread more stories that remind us what truly matters: respect, kindness, and humanity. Tell me, would you have offered that tea? Or would you have walked away? This, my friends, is not just a story. It's a mirror. And sometimes, the smallest reflection changes everything.